something something anthropomorphic, something something stupid sexy furries. What in the anime subplot have I just watched? Tom and Jerry has 758 search results, which is a lot less than what I thought it would be. Why Jerry kind of sexy though? Why Jerry giving me that those love eyes? You know, you guys want some heavenly pussy. I personally want some of that demon pussy. You know what I'm saying? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready for some utter brain rot? I certainly hope you are. We left our brain cells at the door today because we are going to be watching the newest death battle. Do you remember when cartoons were cool? Do you remember when AI didn't overrun the internet and leave us with a taste of Mr. Beast on our mouth? Neither do I, which is kind of a telling point as to how effed up this world is. Regardless of that fact, death battles are here to remind us that you can have quality animation and a great video without needing to have the flavor of Mr. Beast permeating your very existence. So, let's get in and watch this. And remember, if you want to drop by and join us live, I stream almost daily, and we do quite frequent YouTube streams as well. You can be part of the fun, just like YouTube and Twitch here. And if you really want to take it that one step further, we have a Patreon, where you can see all our stuff early, Patreon-exclusive content, Patreon-exclusive reactionaries, and I do occasionally post some titty there. Okie dokie. Well, this is a showdown that I honestly didn't see coming. We've got Wile Coyote versus Tomcat. Now, to those of you who are fetuses out there, this is what we call original animation. This is what came before your AI slop. Yes, that's right. Back before your dopamine receptors were completely burnt out by TikTok and short content, this is what we used to watch back in the day. And yes, we were all very depressed. Let's see what they've got for this, shall we? Yeah, Looney, dude, the good old days. The good old days of classic cartoons. Back when pen and paper were required to make animation. And guys, you all know this is gonna happen already. I'm an animator. I went to university for animation. I have a lot to say about animation, and I could absolutely sit here and completely and autistically talk for hours on end about the lack of originality and the connotations of AI and modern animation styles and the laziness of Disney and all that kind of stuff, and how there's no soul in almost any animation style other than the indie project these days. So what I'll do to make sure we supplicate that and not have to spend turn this video into a 2-hour video, I'm simply going to say this to culminate my entire feelings towards the modern animation industry. Disney's a DreamWorks a they're all a bunch of right up my ass. Anyway.
Looney Tunes. Tomcat, the powerhouse pussycat from Tom and Jerry. The fans
thank you, Raid Vincent.
Here to deliver. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
I mean, they both go by cartoon logic. Like, both of these characters have fallen off cliffs, been flattened by bricks and mountains. And both of them have an adversary that somehow manages to break the fourth wall and use the power of cartoon plot convenience to make you hate them. Like, I cannot be the only one, by the way. You were either in the camp of being on the side of Jerry or the Roadrunner. And if you were, by the way, you were wrong. But why was it that these cartoons made you root for the quote-unquote bad guy? These were the bad guys that actually were the heroes. These were the unintended heroes of their shows. And I guess that's kind of what they wanted, right? They wanted you to hope and beg to see if they would actually catch the prey.
To the Miwok, he was a Prometheus who stole fire from the heavens.
Furries in the chat kind of going wild right now. Yes, something anthropomorphic, something stupid sexy furries, something old Looney Tunes were definitely a provocator for most furries that exist today.
To give to humanity. To the
Can I get a
he was a foolish trickster who could die and return to life.
And to the brothers Warner, he's just a poor dumb schmuck who can't catch a break.
To this day, the great Coyote stalks the American Southwest, hunting his...
Not real talk though, dude. I was obviously that kind of neurospicy because every episode, or maybe not neurospicy, maybe I was just that sociopathic, you know. I'm not guys, just because I wanted to see the Roadrunner and Tomcat eat their prey doesn't make me a sociopath. It makes me qualitatively a quality enjoyer of vor. No, wait, shit.
Indefatigable prey, the Roadrunner. And this modern wily coyote
Yeah, it makes
is
you
driven by a ruthless
Guys, if you need to understand, when you supported the Coyote or Tomcat, you were not an enjoyer of cartoons. You were an unintended, a very poorly disguised vor enthusiast. Just so you know.
entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah, and it drove him straight off a cliff. He'll chase that bird-shaped happily
Yeah,
ever
and then there were the
after to his
episodes where
own
they actually
inevitable
kind of
undoing,
won, and then the
such as
mandatory
lot
episode
of
where they
the
worked
common
together.
man.
You might not expect it from an anthropomorphic
God, early 90s cartoons just had so much charm to them. They really did. And do you remember, like, Space Jam, how they had that homage to these kind of cartoons of old Warner Brothers style? And then Space Jam 2 bastardized it by turning them all into 3D models. And the worst part about that was the worst part about Space Jam 2 wasn't the fact they ruined the soul of the cartoons. No. It's the fact they desexed my Lola Bunny. How am I supposed to goon without Lola Bunny being thick as crap?
canine Job, but Wile was born the son of world-famous
My
hunter
sweet
Cage
Lola
Coyote.
Bunny.
His father raised him from infancy to hound his avian adversary and forbade him to speak until he tasted victory. On the face,
You don't even know. Hold up. Look at what they did to my boo-boo! She went from hot dame to god damn it, Looney Tunes, why you gotta do this? Like, they nerfed her bust, they made her legs into little salami sticks. This is the biggest catastrophe that's ever happened. At least that's what I'm gonna tell myself to ignore the current political climate. And you know what? This bit isn't gonna end up in the video, but I need you to understand, there is a video that even demonstrates this better. I'm gonna make sure I cut this bit out, but this demonstrates it perfectly. Let's continue.
an easy task. Coyotes are incredibly adaptable predators, capable of hunting in both rural and urban
What I was
environments.
saying, the point I was trying to make was Space Jam 2 was the worst movie ever made.
43 miles per hour, though that's cold comfort when that blue meeping bastard can make beams of light look stone still, or outrun a car that was moving
glorious
fast enough
cartoon
to travel
logic.
through time.
Frankly, it's incredible that Wile
So, wait.
manages to
The way they're describing the Roadrunner, does that make the Roadrunner a speedster? Oh my god.
keep up with his prey at all, but he does.
No, really, it's actually stated that only a, quote, tiny little extra burst of speed separates the Coyote and the Roadrunner. Heck, Bugs Bunny himself needed to take super
They are
speed
both
supplements in
very
order
speedy.
to move fast enough to outrun Wile.
But almost as fast isn't fast enough. Fortunately, Wile's got an endless assortment of gadgets, gizmos, and
Real
reams of
talk,
blueprints
though,
to make up the difference.
we joke
He's got
about
your
Wile E.
classics like
Coyote's
dynamite,
inability to
anvils,
catch the
and
Roadrunner.
spring-loaded boxing
Dude
gloves,
is literally a
lot
genius.
heavier artillery
Man
like
was the
heat-seeking
original
missiles,
inventor.
a 10 billion volt electromagnet, and a friggin' trebuchet, a Reddit favorite.
Many of which he invented himself and uses in
I don't,
excruciatingly
like, he really
detailed
needs,
schemes that
Wile E.
inevitably
Coyote
go
needs to
awry.
quit
Despite
chasing
being
the
a
Roadrunner
self-described
and get hired by
super
NASA.
genius, Wile has an officially measured IQ
Me.
of 3.
That's
What?
the same IQ as a cactus.
Okay, the test results
An IQ of 3? So that's 2 more IQ than the average Twitch chatter.
were fake, but he's still an idiot.
So why not let a soulless corporation do the hard
You know
work?
what? With that description, Wile E. Coyote is the metaphor of using int as a dump stat. You put all your points in wisdom with no int to back it up.
For him.
Acme sells any product that you can imagine, and Wile is their most devoted customer, contributing up to 99% of its multi-billion-dollar revenue.
Thanks for the inherited wealth, Pops. Oh, don't worry, I'm spending it all in one place.
He's got an Acme Book of Magic, Acme Clonomatic, Acme Death Ray, Acme City in a Box, Acme Universal
Does he have an Acme cure my friggin' depression because life is such a misery right now?
Emote, which can pause, fast forward, and rewind a person through time.
Too bad half the stuff Wile uses is intentionally sabotaged because Acme's board of directors is exclusively Roadrunners. My man cannot
I
catch
forgot
a break,
about that.
but he sure can
Talk
take some
about
punishment.
No matter the severity
being
of
rigged
his
from the
failures,
start.
Wile is still a toon and can bounce back from just about anything.
He's been sliced,
God, back when
stabbed,
animations
squashed,
used to have so much
exploded,
more
melted,
stuff. Like,
blasted
okay,
into a-
I'm not saying that like modern animations don't have soul in them. There are absolutely ones that do. Even in like the more AAA industry, like there are some that still do. But I feel like most AAA big studio animations have become so corporatized and bland and soulless. And I think that's the big one. Because even ones that have soul can feel... Sorry, even ones that have good animation quality can feel soulless, you know? Look at like a lot of modern shonen anime or a lot of the cartoons that have just made for the sake of filling a checklist. It tends to be why I fall more in line with wanting to watch indie animations. Because at least the indie animations, you can see the soul in them. You can see the passion that was made. Like, indie projects tend to be made for entertainment. Things by studios tend to be made to make money. And I get that you need to make money as a studio, but when you lose the soul, you lose the passion, and when you lose the passion, you lose my interest.
A constellation and overall verbed for the last 87 years straight without ever actually dying. He once got fully disintegrated into ash and popped back up like it was nothing.
Similar to the
This is
immortal
going to be kind
Coyote
of similar to
Select
the
Legend.
He's also
SpongeBob
shattered the
versus
fourth wall tons of times and even left the comic page
Aquaman
entirely
metaphor.
to catch the Roadrunner.
This is the thing, right?
So
The
cool.
second you start bringing in cartoon logic to things, instantly you're dealing with the infinitesimal nature of the creative mind. SpongeBob could literally tear apart the fabric of space and time. And when cartoon, it's like, did you ever see that episode? I can't remember what it was. I don't think it was Space Jam, but there was a Looney Tunes movie where they get brought into real life and they have to like play around with the idea of cartoon logic. And it's like, yeah, if we don't look down, we won't fall. And it's like, the entire skit is them like edging themselves out over a cliff and then sort of saying to themselves, yeah, just don't look down and you won't fall. Was that Roger Rabbit? Yeah, Roger Rabbit. Or like in Space Jam, how Michael Jordan had to learn how to stretch his arm and then realize that he had broken limb syndrome. I stretched my arm to get that slam dunk, but my arm is now broken in 17 places.
Believe it or not, there is actually a biological reason for these abilities. Looney DNA. Every toon's got it, not just the Looney ones.
Are you
And it's
kidding
what
me?
lets them survive
Do we have
damage
the
up
Looney
to being
Tunes canon
fully
universe
erased
now?
off the page.
We had the
Essentially dictating
MCU
their
lore,
personal slice
and now
of
we got
reality
Looney
to
Tunes
whatever
lore?
is funny.
Like how gravity only affects the Coyote when he looks down.
That's what I'm talking about!
Toons are immune to the laws of physics as we know them.
That's why Wile developed a counter to this immortality, the Looney DNA Dissolver, which leaves toons vulnerable to fatal wounds the same way we are. Yet again, so close. You can't say
Wait a second. Wile E. Coyote is the anthropomorphic Professor Dinkelschmurf. I hate the fact that I've made that comparison, and it works.
Tried everything.
It was Wile's experience as a veteran toon that landed him a job at Acme University as department chair of the School of Hard Knocks, teaching up-and-coming tiny toons how to use their abilities.
I feel like
Okay,
one of the
so
problems we have
Naruto.
here
And
is that
just
we
like
are
Naruto's juice.
overthinking the idea of a cartoon. Like, we're putting way too much thought into funny cartoon is just funny.
Toon Force works like an actual power system, with more experienced
Wait,
toons like Wile who are more
so-
powerful.
Okay, now I have to try and figure out, is DC homaging Looney Tunes with the Speed Force? Or is Looney Tunes homaging DC with Looney Force? What did I just say about overthinking things again? Oh, God.
Than their younger counterparts.
And that means Wile should be capable of replicating
Oh,
feats and
Astrid, you really enjoy
abilities
stuff, dude.
performed by any other Looney Tune, like traveling between different mediums or altering the plot of the cartoon he's in.
And my favorite was the time
I
Fluffy Duck
adore
used
when
Marvin the
cartoons
Martian's
are very
matter
playful with this kind of
transmogrifier
stuff.
to suck
It's
up
like
the
how,
entire universe.
you know,
And
in
then suck
Mario,
up the
Mario is very
animator
cartoony,
animating
right?
his universe.
And then suck up the animator.
You know, one There's a movie, right, that plays on Looney Tunes' level of theology and does it so playfully well. And I don't think it gets enough credit for that, like, stint of stupidity that it goes for. Monty Python. Monty Python. Monty Python is a real-life Looney Tunes.
It's the legendary black beast of... That's it, that's it! Run away! Run away! Keep running!
This scene made me lose it as a kid.
We've lost him.
As the horrendous black beast lunged forward, escape for Arthur and his knights seemed hopeless. When suddenly, the animator suffered a fatal heart attack. The cartoon peril was no more.
Amazing World of Gumball moment before it even existed. And the thing is though, right, so you think that's quirky and funny? Do you want to know why that happened, actually? And why Monty Python ended the way it did? Because they had a plan to actually find the Holy Grail. The problem was, they ran out of budget and they had to end the movie where they did. And it was at this point of the movie, they couldn't afford the animator anymore. So they gave the animator a heart attack so they didn't have to pay him anymore. The entire point of the Monty Python the Holy Grail isn't that they were on some great adventure, it's that they literally ran out of budget so they had to end the movie, which unironically made it better and funnier rather than actually playing out the story.
Universe for good measure.
Wiley's got a cushy 10-year job teaching that stuff. Impressive for an abject failure at his life mission. He's helped stop a meteor from destroying Earth, beat the Monstars in basketball. And
What I'm saying is Looney Tunes logic, cartoon logic is always a good thing.
Oh, wait, never mind. So damn close.
According to 1977's Tweety and Sylvester issue 67, Wile E. Coyote has attempted to catch the Roadrunner 4,776,842 times.
Which is almost as many times as the least amount of times that a gooner has jorked it to my content.
Scaling to the present, that's
Can
over
confirm,
10
right, chat?
million failures.
That takes dedication, or maybe self-destructive stubbornness. Too blinded by bird lust to see the forest for the trees.
But he's
Acme's
in love with the
intentional malfunctions
Roadrunner.
and
That
Coyote's
he and the
recklessness don't
Roadrunner are gonna
account
make
for all
sweet
of his
babies together.
catastrophes. There's something
No, wait, that's my fanfiction.
else, something grander, otherworldly, standing in the way of our furry friend's salvation.
Wiz, there's no other way to say it. God is just plain out to get this guy.
And by God, we mean the closest thing that exists for Coyote and Roadrunner. Chuck Jones.
The guy that created him and helped forge
Oh my
the
God.
Looney Tunes into how we know him today.
Originally meant to be a parody of earlier chase cartoons like, well, Tom and Jerry, Jones established several rules
Huh.
for their animated shorts. that
Dude, I keep
superseded
forgetting
Coyote's
how
reality
old Tom and
warping
Jerry
tour
actually
abilities.
is.
Rule.
Like, guys, how old do you think Tom and Jerry is? Because however old you think it is, it's older. Tom and Jerry came out in 1940. It is pre-World War II.
Rules that cover his obsession, faulty products, and the fact that no outside force, not even the Roadrunner, is to blame for his defeat. Just
Yeah.
him.
While other creatives
Yeah,
have
it's older
altered
than
this
even
formula in
me.
the decades since Jones's departure, these rules have effectively made the
It is
Coyote's
old, dude.
defeats cosmically ordained.
God nerfed
old enough to run for
Wile E.
president.
Coyote. In all our years making Death Battle, we have never seen a handicap like that.
But what else can you expect from our fanatical furry fail son? He's
Wait a minute. Maybe the Wile E. Coyote already is the American president. Starting a fight against somebody to maintain relevancy, utilizing that fight against that enemy to stay on people's screens, utilizing that fight to get re-upped onto people's screens later after inadequacy, utilizing that to validate all terrible choices they make. Yeah, Wile E. Coyote is the American president.
The Sultan of Slapstick, the CEO of Second Place, the swing and a miss superstar. As long as he picks himself back up and dusts off the ashes, that'll never be all, folks, for Wile E. Coyote. The year was 1939. War raged in Europe between the British.
Yeah, you have to remember that like, a lot of cartoons from the early 90s were designed as
escape from the German encirclement off the coast of.
So, fun intellectual fact: a lot of early cartoons of the Looney Tunes variety and of the comic variety were all designed as political and motivational rousements for World War II. Superman, in fact, was made as a patriotic stand-in for people to get a rousing sense of patriotism towards the American superhero. And things like Tom and Jerry and all that kind of jazz were very much shaped around the fact that the war was happening to help rouse the troops and motivate people and to give a sense of patriotism to people in or around the war.
Dunkirk, one might have called the battle a game of cat and mouse.
Oh wow, is that actually where their names come from? I'm looking this up.
Regardless of their names' origin, William Hanna and Joseph Barbera's infamous cat and mouse duo became the undisputed kings.
The
of
original
slapstick
Tom and Jerry
comedy.
style looks so weird. Like, OG Tom actually looked like a demon. Like, when they changed the style for Tom to his modern look, it was such an upgrade, because this very first iteration of Tom looked so demon. It was a demon. It was straight up a demon.
Jerry Mouse around the house. Brutal, bone-shaking.
Something straight out of your sleep paralysis demon.
Violence ensues, and Tom is
in fact, your sleep paralysis demon kind of scary.
Let's say
very. Yeah. Can we all remember that like early cartoons, especially from Disney, were very racist? Oh, let's not even talk about the literal blackface that a lot of Disney shows were doing.
Very much from the 1940s.
And if you're like me, all you wanted to see was Tom wipe that smug smirk off that little rat's face. Despite my well-documented hatred of cats, even I've got to cringe at years of propaganda to convince us to side
Wait, no. wait a minute. Was that sexy Tom?
Hatred of cats, even I've got to cringe at years of propaganda.
Now, this seems to come up every time we watch something like this. But once again, no matter how much and how cute and adorable the show was, the internet has ruined my perception on these two characters. Because you know what? So let me just pull up the old Rule 34 machine a second. Rule 34, cultural content. Tom and okay, Tom is not spelled with an E. Tom and Jerry has 758 search results, which is a lot less than what I thought it would be, but I guarantee you that 90% of these are Tom and Jerry making out. I was right. Although a large portion of them are, in fact, of miscellaneous characters, like the sexy white cat that was in the show.
Propaganda to convince us to side
Anyway.
with the filthy, flea-ridden rodent over man's second best friend. Oh, big yawn.
House cats
Tom
like
and Jerry
are
bounced
actually
to
some
Bow
of
Wow.
Earth's most successful
World's
predators.
best
They
gay
can run
couple.
up to 30 miles per hour, leap 6 feet high, and despite being commonly perceived as nocturnal, they're actually crepuscular and hunt in the dawn
Crepuscular?
Tom
Man,
specifically
I don't
is
even
a
know what
British
that word
shorthair.
is.
They're
I can't even
strong,
pronounce that
stocky
word.
Roman cats bred to withstand harsh conditions, and for
So, there's a thought I have here. I have a lot more appreciation for Tom and Jerry, because ever since 1940, Tom and Jerry hasn't changed. The thing about Looney Tunes is every character has now changed to be some kind of DEI inclusive thing. Just like think about Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny was just meant to be the fruity tooty, goofy bunny. Whereas now, Bugs Bunny is designed as the trans icon. And canonically is represented as the trans queen. and trans people everywhere use Bugs Bunny as their icon, much like how a bunch of the other characters in that show are also icons for different reasons or different sort of things now.
Tom, harsh conditions is an understatement.
Tom has collected a crazy assortment of weapons in his war against mouse kind. Sure, most
Bugs
of it
Bunny
is the stuff
learned
you
not
can
to be
find around the
racist.
average American
Yo,
household,
true!
like
Guys,
baseball.
if a cartoon bunny can learn not to be racist, then god damn it, so can the rest of you. I expect better.
Bats, lead pipes,
And guns! Lots and lots of guns. But he's got wackier things like a magic wand, a robo-cat, vanishing cream, and a smart cap that gives him all the knowledge in the world.
I'm
yeah.
partial to the sword.
Modern Tom and Jerry is actually, I love the art style of modern Tom and Jerry. Unfortunately, it is that sort of like animation style that's very indicative of the modern type. This is using the same animation process that, so it's no longer frame by frame animation. It's the same way they do Peppa Pig. It's the same. It's a program called Toon Boom, and these are no longer animated frame by frame. It's replacement animation. Everything you see is a model that's being splined, and it's just like the modernization of animation. Doing that kind of animation is cheaper, easier, takes less effort, but just means that it takes less time to edit. Animate. Sorry. Which, in the animation industry, time is money. It's why really, in the modern era, it's why Disney doesn't make animation anymore. It's why you don't get any mainstream animations that are frame by frame. And I get it, I don't mind this animation style. It can be very stylized still, but you can tell when it's that animation style because it feels a bit stiff. It tends to be why the only time you get good frame by frame animation is from indie projects, because they have that passion to make that thing. It's why the original pilot for Has Been Hotel, for example, was frame-by-frame animation.
Sword of light and dark, which severs you
Or
from
My
your own
Little Pony,
shadow. Or the rewind remote, which can move your victim backwards through
But
time.
I think
And you
modern
can't
Tom and
forget
Jerry is
the
quite
cat car
harmless.
and cat jet, spelled with K's, of course, but just the cat part.
Tom's arsenal is
There's definitely
heavily
worse examples,
improvisational,
like
which fits
Tom
his
and Jerry.
quick
Modern
thinking
Tom
in
and Jerry
fights
is just
over
harmless
Thanksgiving
fun
turkey,
now.
Though he often loses
And I
his
don't
bout
like.
with
I
Jerry.
don't think there's anything wrong with not doing frame by frame animation. God, that freeze frame. Frame by frame animation is definitely a dated animation style, and you would be remiss not to capitalize on technology. But it doesn't change the fact that frame by frame animation has more proclivity to having soul to it.
It's not usually because he's dumb.
There
or
is good
incompetent.
replacement
Rather,
animation,
he's just genuinely
but you have to be
outplayed.
willing to put
And
the
even
soul
in
into
defeat,
it.
He's one
So
tough
here's some interesting theology. Here's an interesting understanding about how this works. The reason why frame by frame animation tends to have more soul to it is because every single frame, every single image that is made is hand drawn. It has to be made with the eye of a person. And because of that, where the biggest amount of attention goes into making this project is in the animation. So the animation feels like there's soul to it. The problem with replacement animation and modern animation style that uses those models and more modern animation techniques is there is no animation process anymore. Every frame is done by interpolation and splining of the program. The only place where the human touch is at that point is in the creation of the character and rigging them. And the animation process is just done through keyframes, which is still fine. You can still make it look good. But because there's not as much time put into the animation process, because there's not that individual attention to each individual frame, you're not given as much opportunity to make it feel like there's as much soul in those animations. So that way you have to end up putting the soul somewhere else. You have to be able to get that level of passion and detail into other elements. And more often than not, a lot of the more modern studios just aren't willing to put that extra amount of effort into other areas. You want to know the best example of a show from a modern studio that did do that? Samurai Jack. Samurai Jack, to me, as well as maybe a couple of others like Steven Universe, maybe. And I'm talking specifically Western animation style. Anime doesn't tend to use these processes. Anime is kind of its own thing. But Samurai Jack, Steven Universe are two great examples of animations that use replacement animation and modern animation techniques that still feel like they have soul.
Son of a gun. He's been crushed, blown up, had every bone in
Ah,
his
thanks,
body
Stella Bunny.
broken, shattered, melted, and vaporized to dust, and survived.
Well, mostly. Tom actually has kicked the bucket multiple times, but little known
Remember that
he
episode?
has 9 lives, as established in the episode Heavenly
God,
Pulse.
that episode, I still remember that. I used to watch, like, this is why I know, this is why I know that I had good parents. My parents brought me up on Tom and Jerry, Ed, Edd n Eddy, like classic cartoons like this, and good music.
When he stumbled on that episode.
Very funny. Even if Tom starts
That's
to
some
use
heavenly
his life
pussy
up,
right there.
he has a potion that just restores.
You know, you guys want some heavenly pussy. I personally want some of that demon pussy. You know what I'm saying?
Or he can physically
Out of
go
context
get
comments
them
again
back
by
from
Makari.
hell, where all cats go.
Extremely hardcore for a toon, but there isn't much of a limit to what Tom can do. He can clone himself, levitate in the air, make his imagination
Why not
real,
both?
and
Thanks.
even break the fourth wall and enter the real world.
Oh, there you go.
If you only watch the classic
Typical
cartoons
Looney
from
Tunes
the 40s, you may be in
cartoonisms.
for a shock.
Break the fourth wall.
Tom and Jerry gets buck wild, much like the actual inspirations for their names. Thank you, Google.
Oh, you're still on this?
Dodoy Whiz. They were actually named after the two characters in Pierce Egan's delightful life in London, Jerry Hawthorne
I
and
never knew
Caribbean
that.
Tom. It was adapted to the stage with the title Tom and Jerry, which later became a catch-all term in 1800s England for young, drunken rabble-rousers.
Oh my God.
One
I need to
could,
go back
in
and watch
fact, say
that,
many rabbles were roused the times
Robert
Tom
Downey
destroyed
Jr.'s,
a planet-busting
Sherlock Holmes.
asteroid, lifted
Discombobulated.
up the sun, and was blown up into a constellation. And he was just fine. Just a bunch of stars now, but he's okay.
He
I'm
tanked
gonna
an
put it out
explosion that
there.
launched him
I
through
think
time.
the Coyote's gonna win. Like, it's hard to gauge power when you've got two cartoony characters fighting off against each other. Because cartoons, the only limit is the imagination, right? It's why Aquaman versus SpongeBob was never even challenged. Aquaman was limited by the basis of human antics, whereas SpongeBob was SpongeBob.
Into the Stone Age,
And I
has
feel
run through
as
space
though
at
Wile E.
massively
Coyote may
faster
have a
light
bit
speeds.
more
Shouldn't
of
be a
that
surprise when he and
cartoony
Jerry have been
nonsense
at each
going
other's
on.
throats for over 80 years now. But what may surprise you is the fact that at the end of the day, they're actually friends.
And they've worked together tons of times to save the day, like when they
Yeah. Yeah. What was that movie? Do you remember that one episode of Tom and Jerry where there was that bully dog? Was it a bully dog or a bully cat? I can't remember. I think it was the dog, right? Yeah, because the dog comes in, beats up Tom, and then Jerry's like, haha, idiot. And then the dog, like, starts beating up Jerry as well.
helped a little orphan girl, Robin Starling.
Oh
find her
shit!
way
I remember
home.
that movie.
Oh, that's a nice end to the
because this is the movie. Like, this is the movie where they started talking, right? And it's like at the very beginning, they're like, "You can talk, you can talk." Yeah, I just never felt like it. Dude, imagine like a VTuber who's like a cutie mutie, and everyone's like perceived them as a mute. And then one day they just go live, like, "Hey guys, what's up?" And everyone's like, "You can talk?" Yeah, I just didn't feel like it.
their story.
Don't you believe it?
Oh,
Now is when we have to-
dude, that quote! I might have to make that a React Andy. I might have to make that a Chaos clip. Because to this day, that clip right there haunts me. I used to quote that every time some shit used to happen. My sister would be like, "Oh man, that sucks." And I'd be like, "Don't you believe it?"
Now is when we have to talk about Tom and Jerry Chase. Long ago, the warrior god, Lord of Sichuan,
What?
Erlong Shen, battled
What?
the tricksy and indomitable Mouse King atop Peach Mountain, leading the goddess Celeste to declare the two the strongest
in the
warriors in the
skibbity
realm.
toilet
And
is
they
this?
were, in fact, Tom and Jerry. They were even stronger than Devil Tom, who repelled corruption by the darkness. This
What?
mysterious, malevolent force threatened to consume the Tree of Life, whose branches encompass all of time and space. Banding together, these warriors used the star element to dispel the darkness and save the universe.
What the?
What
Well, it
in
may
the
sound-
okay? What in the anime subplot have I just watched? Okay, this is just fanon, right? Canon versus fanon. Itty bitty itty bitty titty committee versus flat chested chastisation chat Timidity.
Completely insane. It is. Chase is a Chinese mobile gacha game whose lore is not
What?
entirely in keeping with the spirit of the source material. However, it is officially licensed by Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment.
Dude, that moment where you realize something becomes canon because the people put their name on it. Oh,
Which
no.
means we have to include it in our research.
Why Jerry kind of sexy though? Why Jerry giving me that those love eyes? Why Jerry trying to open up my wallet and trying to make me pay to the Chinese overlords?
So that the gods may grant us mere mortals some heavenly push.
No.
Friendly rivalry is
Yo, you want your heavenly puss? I just want some demon puss, you know what I'm saying?
though. Tom has
I prefer
actually
my
managed
pussy to be a bit
catch the
demonic,
rat
you know what I'm
fair and
saying?
Square a few times.
By my count of the original shorts, 19 times.
I could watch them on repeat forever.
You are my favorite streamer to watch while on the toilet. Thank you for your service. I understand because you're taking a shit whilst watching my shit. I'm glad to be of service. First time chatter, by the way.
Too bad he's still a filthy feline. The only kitty I truly respect is named after booze.
Well then, you're in luck, because the Tom and Jerry of English literature later became the namesake for a famous Christmas cocktail.
Because there's no better way to get absolutely trashed than with good old Tom and Jerry.
I really think that there's no winning here because both of these cartoons are so
Guess what?
stinted in
now.
amazing
That's right.
origins.
Through all
Alright, let's see what we get up to.
It's
Oh,
time
dude,
for
the old Tom and Jerry
Attack
games.
Battle!
God, PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 games had so much jank to them.
Oh!
Brawl battle! I, Mr. Referee, will referee this battle. Na 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 na. They really emulated the style. That's so good. This is what I mean. This kind of style, when you have to go to indie studios to get these kind of this kind of quality of like frame by frame animation, I think it's a really telling sign as to where we are in the universe with our quality of animation. This is so charming. So cute. Meepus, Meepus. Who's ready for some shenanigans? Nyum. Ah, so Wile E. Coyote has a nuclear arms program. Oh. So they're gonna work together to catch the other two, right? No, okay, I know how this is gonna end. Both of them are gonna lose, and at the very end, Jerry and the Roadrunner are gonna come back and clown on both of them and then Fortnite dance. I can see it coming. Yeah, Whitey. Okay, not to be a pause champion here, and I hate the fact that this is the thing that came to my mind, but I hope Death Battles understands the consequence of their actions by making this video where Wile E. Coyote is fisting Tom. We all know that there's going to be an influx of fan service about Wile E. Coyote and Tom fisting each other. Yeah.
Come on, you
Makari, no! Makari, yes! He's invisible! That lady. What the fuck, dude? You can't just put Chat's mom in there. That's so rude! Wile E. Coyote, Chat's mom did not deserve to be brought up like that. You can't just launch Chat's mom. That's just a bit rude, mate. Okay, so what disgruntled, terrible product is gonna come down now? I was kind of hoping that this would turn into some epic anime battle. Oh great, now they're both speedsters. This joke is literally 80 years old. And it still gets me every fucking time. And it's, you know what this is the zenith. This is the progenitor of a joke that has been modernized. You know how in like Call of Duty you get your spray paint? This happens in modern video games, like in Team Fortress or in Call of Duty, where you literally spray a silhouette of your character against a wall, and then somebody comes around and thinks it's a real person. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Oh my god, that's a van! Wait. We need to see this. We need to see this. Zoom in and enhance. Zoom in and enhance. Wile, Coyote, 6 foot. How many views? How many views we got? Okay. Right. Okay, Death Battle. Way to toot your own horn. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be the case. What else we got? Liam Swan, Death Battle, Ryuzaki, Sam Mitchell, ranking all my friends. Dude, don't just rank all your friends in public. Ranking your friends is something you do in private. Oh, ranking. Sorry, I misread. Wait. What was that one at the bottom? Wile Coyote reacts to his own death battle? But the death battle isn't even out yet! That's so meta. And of course, Wile Coyote would use friggin' light mode. Oh no! Oh, ew, they broke. My bones! You punched out all the blood in my body! You broke every bone in my body! I would have paid any money to have watched their bones sticking out from their body. That's so grim! Just the blood spatter on the floor? Damn, they did something that most modern AAA studios couldn't do. They killed their own show with murder.
Wile E. Coyote, super genius.
That's not all, because the other one only lost his 3rd life. Wait, that's it? But Tom still has 2 lives!
Oh, thank God one of them actually died this time. I mean, no!
What the hell?
Animal cruelty, no!
Considering coyotes eat cats, I'm not surprised.
While both Cat and Coyote were...
Mittens? Mom told me that you'd just been adopted by a different family. Mittens, no!
incredibly powerful, they weren't literal gods who could snap their problems away. They had limitations and weaknesses that could be exploited, especially by each other. Let's first talk their stats.
Both were strong enough to contend with universe-threatening phenomena, but comparing Wile to Plucky Duck, Looney Tunes can not only destroy their own universe, but their animators as well.
And while Tom could move faster than light, Wile could keep up with the Roadrunner, who could outspeed a car fast enough to travel through time. That's immeasurably fast, and much faster than
Here we
Tom.
go with the
Wile
metaphysical
gets the
bullshit
edge in
stats.
stats.
Wile's arsenal was a bit better too, believe it or not. Even eliminating the devices that have been shown to malfunction, he still countered everything Tom had.
The biggest being the
Dude,
Looney
Tom
DNA
gets
Dissolver,
drunk
which could
way
render
too many
Tom's
times.
cartoony healing factor moot.
We need to
and
realize that
end
Tom
fights.
is actually just a
While Tom's
recovering
never been shown
alcoholic.
to have Looney DNA specifically, the concept clearly has nothing to do with actual DNA molecules.
Looney Tunes have been erased completely and still returned, so it's clearly something more fundamental to their essence.
And since the dissolver works on any tunes, not just the Looney ones, it should apply to Tom. But considering how much of a screw-up Wile is, it wasn't a sure bet. Hell, it could have backfired.
Why wouldn't they
especially
just unite
considering how much
together and
more
go and hunt down
competent Tom
Jerry and the
is.
When it came
Roadrunner?
to
You
intelligence,
idiots!
Wile's engineering and scheming
What
genius
a
were often defeated by his
what a fabricated fight they're having. I cannot believe that a secondary power caused two sibling states to fight with each other. Sorry, I was looking at my my news feed. Oh, but also this. I mean, the metaphor's there.
own ego and stubbornness. Tom, on the other hand, was consistently more flexible, pragmatic, and victorious in his fights. He definitely gets the edge there.
Oh, and Tom has one other big advantage. He doesn't have God nerfing him.
And that's the big question.
True.
Was Tom capable enough to benefit from Wile's narrative-enforced bad luck and see the DNA dissolver backfire against him?
That bad luck is a core part of Wile's character as
They
a
could have
cartoon,
united together.
so let's
They could have
call
gone
it his,
after their similar enemies.
tooliness.
To find the answer, we dug deep through the
Instead,
bowels
they
of
let
Looney Tunes
America,
lore and ended up in
the
an
plot
unexpected
dictate they
place.
fight each other
Space
instead.
Jam.
Where Wile yet again fails
Yeah,
against the
Space
Roadrunner,
Jam!
but against the villains of the movie, the Monstars, he actually scores.
And scores again in the sequel, more than anyone else.
I want to pretend like the second movie doesn't exist.
But according to Chuck Jones's rules, that shouldn't happen, right?
Throughout his entire history, Wile's cosmically ordained failures only occur when he's specifically chasing the Roadrunner, or other tunes the plot bends around like bugs, because that's what Chuck Jones's rules were written for, Coyote and Roadrunner cartoons.
And even then, looking closely, they've been broken a few times throughout the decades, even during Chuck Jones's tenure.
Without the universe nerfing him, there's no reason
Excuse me
to
one
think
moment.
Wile couldn't eventually land a hit with the Looney
Roadrunner
DNA
Rule
dissolver.
34.
Especially when the only reason it failed was because of the Roadrunner's intervention.
Now, I can't show you what I'm looking at right now, but I think I'm gonna make a Roadrunner anthro character called Run Me Over Baby.
A direct violation of Chuck Jones's limitations on the Coyote.
And especially when it's the only thing that either one
Why?
had that could kill the other.
Despite lacking Wile's
Gooner.
narrative impediments, and despite having a
Self-reported
better track record
Gooner.
overall, Tom ultimately had no surefire way to kill Wile, whereas Wile's superior strength, speed, and looting arsenal ensured his victory.
Wile gave one hell of a chase and left Tom Jones in for a
Nah,
rematch.
dude, I
The
think
winner
Tom should have had
is
way better of a
Wile
chance. Or they should have
Coyote.
just banded together.
Next time on...
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was a great episode. I'm gonna have to edit the crap out of this so I can make this work properly, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're gonna watch some more death battles in the near future, more than likely, so if you guys want to suggest any that you think is worth watching, do let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I gotta pee, so I'm gonna disappear without an outro, because I'm gonna piss and bye!